Hey, it's a big game. James McCarty and Jace Denman. We decided that we're going to do a Dragon football preview show itself. We're throwing it up on YouTube, on the website, and we're going to get a feel for the excitement of what is this upcoming football season. And the Dragons kicking off this Thursday. It'll be in Marquette, Michigan, in the Superior Dome. It'll be a 5:45 local pregame show itself for that. Just a quick pregame into a 5 p.m. kickoff. So
4:45 kick preview.
Oh my gosh!
You gotta remember your time zones, bro.
I don't. I can't even begin to tell you the amount of time I've just been looking at screens and looking at time zones. And 4:45 Central pregame on Thursday, August 28th, right?
Yes,
so 28th of
correct.
August. Yep. 5 p.m. kickoff, local Central time.
Yeah, that's the change.
Yes.
We got a local kickoff of 5 p.m. every. All the other games, obviously, we don't have to worry about time zone changes. It is a little bit weird because we have talked in the past, James. The Upper Peninsula of Michigan, Marquette, Michigan.
Is Eastern time zone, I learned the last month. Thank you, Nolan.
Thank
you, Nolan.
The whole state is Eastern time zone, which maybe that says something about people from Michigan compared to the Dakotas.
Well, it's kind of like the people of Wisconsin who didn't just take over the UP.
Well, number one, there's
That's
that.
a joke.
That's a whole other civil war you have to worry about. Minnesota, I tell you what, the reason why you have such a problem with it being from Minnesota is that you guys have one time zone. You don't have to worry about anything. Those of us that grew up in either North or South Dakota, we've got time zones that split our state or they cross over at certain parts. So we've had to deal with this. It's not that big of a deal. The only problem is that Michigan couldn't handle it. So instead of the Upper Peninsula just being in that central time zone and having a nice line down the U.S., they just group all of Michigan together so they don't get confused. So there's that.
Maybe that just goes to show
our intelligence here.
Their intelligence or lack thereof.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe. Maybe. Well, hey,
either way,
throughout this, the conversation is going to have, you're going to hear from wide receiver Gage Florence, defensive back Cody Sorenson, defensive lineman Jacob Brosius, and then, of course, head coach Steve Laqua as well. We're just going to give a couple of minutes, offense, defense, special teams, and then sign off for you guys to try and not hold you too long as we get all amped up for the season that kicks off this Thursday.
Yeah, we're going to be over at the Superior Dome, a unique place. One of the biggest, if not the biggest, wooden dome structure in the U.S., maybe in the world. But it's kind of interesting watching some of the previous games of Northern Michigan from last season, watching it in that dome. It still kind of has that, Nemzik stadium kind of feel to it, a small college stadium, but it's all enclosed. So,
exactly.
We should have
the
some good weather.
elements are not an issue.
No, the passing game will not be
unless
affected.
the roof gets ripped off, then we have an issue.
Well, then there's that. But I'm excited to go there. I'm excited to see a new building and a new place. I've never been to Michigan before, so it's going to be exciting. I'm excited to see the guys get back out there. Obviously, we're all familiar with a lot of the guys on the offensive side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball is really intriguing, and it's going to be great to be back covering Dragon football.
It really will be. And so just a quick overall look at the offense. Basically, the offense is back, right? I mean, you are losing a couple guys. I don't want to get myself in too much trouble.
JD Check, we will miss you.
Yeah,
but you're 1 year.
We miss him. Luke Emdeck.
What 1 year? Without him, it's
he
sad to see
played
him.
all 11 games and started him. All right, that's huge. Okay?
Yeah, Luke
Tyler
Emdeck.
Martin played 44 games on the offensive line. The Moorhead native, man.
Tyler Martin's gone, which obviously sometimes you worry about their parents not coming back to tailgating. But I think
the Martins will be back.
I think the Martins will be back. We lose Luke Emdeck. We do have Tyson Brandt back. That big. Just bully of a running back. We'll see some of Castleton's own Owen Wiersma as well. And then basically we have everybody that we had last season at the wide receiver position. I mean, last year going into the season we lost Ryan Bieberdorf. And that meant there was an opportunity for someone else to step up. The injury to Carter Bierencott last year gave an opportunity for other people to step up. So you start off the top, obviously, with your wide receivers. You got your Brady Perriman, your Carter Bierencott, obviously Madden Thorson, Kelly Johnson, Carson Elbert, and then, of course, the guy that we got to talk to kind of start things off, James, Gage Florence. I mean, from Sawyer, North Dakota, small-town kid, one of those do-it-all athletes in high school, comes to MSUM, becomes one of those stereotypical 5'10", 5'11", slot wide receiver types. But he just is so consistent. He's a great route runner, always able to catch the ball. When you see him drop a pass, you kind of wonder what's up with that, because most of the time, if the ball's in his area that he can catch it, he's catching it and he's making a play. So Gage Florence is back once again, senior year, leading this offense going forward.
Another name you're going to want to be prepared for. Denzel Sutton, small-town Wisconsin kid, redshirt freshman. He's going to get some opportunity in special teams this year. He's going to get in the rotation a little bit, receiving the ball.
Yep.
I don't know how many receptions he'll have or how many routes he'll run, but he's electric, to say the least.
I don't think there is a way for a team right now that you can honestly double team somebody from that receiver room. If you go 5 wide, it's quite simply with the depth at that receiver position, you have to pick your poison. There's really no other way around it.
And then the offensive line, with the exception of Tyler Martin for the most part, basically everybody back. Manny Wilson, Brendan Selheim, Nick Haugerud, Owen Bartle, and Grant Erickson are scheduled to be left to right starting on Thursday night. You still have Brooks O'Brien, who's played 27 games with the Dragons, in the rotation. Brady Olson, who's played in 10. He's in the rotation. And your other guys that are mixing in a bit, Kyle Nemzik, Luke Rogan, and Jacob Dorner. So we're looking forward to seeing what they can do. But so we don't make this 3.5 hours long for y'all. I think we have to get to that first player conversation, and that was you this past week on Media Day talking with Gage Florence.
Yeah, and I if I'm not mistaken, I kind of asked him what it was like heading into this senior year, because obviously, as we know, a lot of these interviews we've done over the course of the preseason leading into the first game of the year, these guys that have stepped up and now they are seniors, they are now leaders, they are looked to by the younger guys on this squad, and so we talked to him about what it's like going into this final year. Heading into another season, your senior season. First off, what did you do over the summer when it came to your off-season workouts, kind of what you're doing, getting prepared for obviously life after football at some point?
All summer I was here in Moorhead with the team, working out, working around here in the Fargo-Moorhead area. But this summer a lot with the new Coach Martin that came in, our new receivers coach. He just really honed in on the details for us, especially us older guys who've played a lot of football. So it was just details, top of routes, like working to set people up, a lot of man work. So it was a good summer, a lot of progression throughout it all.
When you talk about Coach Martin coming in, taking over for Chase Montplaisir, who has moved on from the coaching position, what are the differences between coaching styles between those two guys?
I would say Coach Martin is definitely very down to the last detail type of guy, while Chase was a big picture guy. And I think they both had they're good things about him. I think it's just two different styles of coaching. But I think what Coach Martin has done coming in, he's definitely elevated what we've done down to the detail standpoint. He's very nitpicky, and I think it's very good how critical he is on us, especially, like I said, with us older guys having a lot of reps. Like, it comes down to little things now that can really separate you. I think Chase did a great job of getting us to where we're at, and Coach Martin has done a great job of excelling and just keep working and pushing us to the next level.
Yeah, they can't find complacency. You got to keep improving each day.
Yes, sir.
When it comes to going into this year, obviously you get Carter Bierencott back, which has been a big talker, obviously, since he's been out for almost about a season and a half, really, off the field. But you bring him back in. You've got yourself, Madden Thorson, Carson Elbert, Brady Perryman. Brady and Jack are both on a watch list for top of the Division II type of players. What does it mean to have all that type of talent come back, along with an experienced offensive line?
I think it just shows you that sky's the limit. We got a good, hardworking group. Like they say, iron sharpens iron. Like you got the guys in the room that are pushing each other every day and trying to elevate the program. And I think that's a huge thing we've done, especially in the wide receiver room, like developing that depth and just trying to bring the younger guys along now too. Like with bringing in all these new freshmen in, like trying to get them the ropes and trying to let that so that they can have those skills to excel when they finally need to be able to step up.
Your defense, obviously, you lost some key players, a couple of star linebackers with Josiah and Jack leaving the program after being seniors. So does that, in essence, with having kind of a inexperienced defense time, now there's a lot of players on that defensive side, don't get me wrong, that have gotten a lot of snaps, but when there's a little bit more lack of experience on that defensive side of the ball, does that put more pressure on you guys as an offense to control the clock, to control, the scoreboard as well going into this season?
No, I wouldn't say we have any pressure. I think as an offense and as a whole team, we got a good motion going throughout us all, and I think as an offense, like obviously we want to go out there and put up points, and no matter what, like whether we go 3 and out, we go down and score a touchdown. I know the defense is there to pick us up, so I think that there's no pressure on us at all. I think that as long as we got that trust of our defense that we're going to go out there and score, I know that when they go out there, they're going to put their best foot forward and go out there and make plays for us too.
Going into this season, obviously an offense that has been together now for 3 solid years. This will be your guys' 3rd year really together as a core group. What are the goals and expectations of this offense, and then also for yourself individually, Gage?
I think as an offense, like we just want to try to just push the program forward and raise the floor every year. I think that we've had times where we maybe had a little inconsistency in the middle of the season. And I think it just comes out to starting fast. I think that's a big thing that we've preached out a lot, is just coming out the gates fast. And then, like you said, with us being together for so long, that chemistry being there, I think that it's just timing. Like, timing is everything with this offense, and I think once we get into that rhythm, it's really hard to stop. So that's a huge thing for us. I think it's just making those next level steps that have maybe been little things in the past that have bothered us, and it's just, all right, how can we better that? And I think we've done a good job with this offseason attacking that. And me personally, I just want to be the best leader and teammate I can be on this team. Like, I know it's my last season. I want to go out there. I'm going to put my body and everything on the line every play, but I just want to be someone that guys can look at and as like a great leader and someone that they want to try to strive to be as they're older, and that can hopefully help push the program further forward.
Well, I know you're going to do that. I know a lot of these guys have a lot that they want to prove this season. Obviously, looking squarely ahead at having a great season as a team as well. That's what you really want. But best of luck this season. We're counting down. We're down to days. We're just a little over a week away from game number 1 this season. So, obviously, best of luck this year, Gage. We're looking forward to covering you guys every step of the way.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
You bet.
Thank you to Gage Florence for a couple minutes of his time.
Yeah.
What he's going to be doing outside of football after his collegiate football career is over is absolutely tremendous. Going out there helping athletes, working at Sanford, working through some with many people, working through ACL reconstructions, the rehab process of all of that. Hey. You know that firsthand. That it takes a special kind of person to be able to help some people persevere through such a severe injury like that.
Well, and it doesn't matter what level of an athlete or non-athlete you are, especially when he talked a little bit about helping people with ACL injuries. I've been through an ACL injury, and I've had other types of rehab that I've gone through as well, James. And any type of rehab you have to do, it's about quality of living. I mean, when we've been on Bonnie and Friends, we've talked to Dr. Z from the clinic, and we've talked to other medical professions over the years. And it's about rehabbing the patient and getting them back out there and living their best life. Now, whether that's grandma who hurt her knee and she needs to get back out there so she can go for walks with her dog or go walks with her grandkids, or if it's a competitive athlete, there are different levels and different things you have to do in rehab. And so it's so important to have good people there helping your rehab. And Gage Florence, quite honestly, an elite athlete. He's going to be able to bring that experience from being an athlete into that physical therapy world and hopefully help a lot of people going forward and be able to recover from some of their injuries.
Now as we look defensively, secondary's back.
Yeah. Well, the secondary is so much back, James. We're actually taking guys from the secondary, and they're moving to linebacker.
They're moving to hybrid roles. Jack Johnson's going to be he's going to be the Swiss Army knife of this team. He really is. I mean, the Josh Metellus of the Dragon defense. He really will be this year.
He's a sophomore right now, and obviously I didn't get to finish the full season, but what I know of Jack Johnson, he was very impressive out there. They were playing him at safety last year, and he was a big hitter. He was one of those safeties that can come down and make a play in the running game. So I think with guys like Jack Johnson and Kenan Stowers switching into linebacker roles, not only does that help, obviously putting them in a position to be able to be effective in the run defensive game, but also these are guys that can cover, obviously. So a lot of times you've got guys like linebackers that have to guard a tight end, or they have to guard a running back out of the backfield in a pass pattern. These guys are going to be able to cover those guys. It just gives your defense more versatility. But James, you love the big boys up front. You're a lineman by trade.
I'm all about the hogs. I'm about the tuna, man.
Well, number one, you've never stopped eating like a lineman, so that's good. I like that.
Well, that's not wrong.
But the thing is that we've lost some bulk up front, and we've got some guys kind of switching around that defensive line. A couple of younger guys that'll be stepping in to predominant roles on that defensive line. So we know what we've got at linebackers. We've got a couple guys that'll be playing more, Mitch Dzerzky, Tate Gustafson, in the linebacker roles. We've got a couple safeties moving down to the linebackers. Defensive line, though, I want you to go through a little bit before you kind of we get these interviews. But, you've got Zach Dell, Denver Piowski on one side, Will Martin, Ashton Jaden on the other side. In the middle is the biggest kind of question mark. Ashton Sayer is going to be there. Hunter Corbin should be there. Jacob Brosius, Sawyer Rumor. Talk a little bit about that defensive line and what you see from that line going forward into the season.
All right, well, this is just basically going to take us right into our player conversations with Jacob Brosius and then as well with Cody Sorenson. You lose two guys in the interior, Jaden Chrisman and Andrew Spandieri.
Yep.
A couple of guys that are going to be tough to replace, but as we know from last year, the Ashtons, right?
Yeah.
I know that you have Ashton Jaden listed as a D end.
Yeah.
He's still at times going to slide inside. I'm confident in that, right? I really am. So you got Ashton 1 and 2, however you want to look at it. Ashton Sayer, Ashton Jaden as well. Those two young men are going to be really big. They're going to play big roles in eating up blocks. They really are this season. You also bring in Jacob Brosius, who's moving from what we saw in high school, linebacker to edge rusher with the Dragons. Now he's an interior defensive line, and he's going to be eating up a lot of blocks, but he's also going to be able to, at times, he's got the swim moves. He's got the agility. He's got the lateral quickness that he needs. He's got that explosiveness, and he's got tree trunk-sized arms nowadays, too, that are going to help him be able to be just a snap of the finger faster than those guards and those centers predominantly in Division II.
When you don't have the bulk to match up, because we're going to see it, this first game. We've got 3 guys up the middle of that offensive line for Northern Michigan, all 3 bucks or more, right?
Yep.
So when you go up against like that and you don't have that same size, not saying he doesn't have the same strength, but when you don't have that same size, the quickness. Because I remember even when I was in high school, granted, we were a small school. My coach came to me at one point and says, yeah, we want you to play defensive tackle. And I'm kind of like, huh? They're like, we want you to use your quickness against these bigger offensive linemen. And at times it can be really effective because obviously maybe you're a step faster getting off the ball. Maybe you can get into that swim move or that spin move and get around them quicker because they just can't keep up with the foot speed. So it'll be an interesting dynamic to see our speedy defensive linemen go up against maybe some of these bigger offensive linemen out there.
My most interesting part of this defense, in my opinion, coming back, I'm most curious about, I'm excited about, it's the youth of the edge rushers.
Oh, yeah.
Starting Zach Dahl, the sophomore out of Farmington. He's a guy that played inside and outside last year, and he brings an explosiveness. And then Will Martin, the redshirt freshman from Detroit Lakes. He played 3 games last year, retained a red shirt. He's a guy who's put on a few pounds. He played linebacker when he was a Laker, and now he's going to play edge rusher with the Dragons, and he just made life, for lack of a better term, hell for everybody at the high school level, whether it was DGF, it was Perham, anybody else throughout the state of Minnesota. A lot of people recognize that name from this western Minnesota area, and I'm excited to see what they have. At the same point, I'm not gonna overstate it. I'm not gonna underplay it. There's gonna be a little bit of growing pains there though, because these are 2 young men who are learning the collegiate level of that edge rusher. You got to be able to seal before you pursue, right? And so that's going to be something that's going to be very interesting, and I think that they're both going to have really standout seasons, and we're going to learn a lot about them come Thursday night in Marquette, Michigan, and seeing where they're at progression-wise as we enter this 2025 season, and that really plays for myself right into the conversation. So what we're going to do, we're going to play them back-to-back. Jacob Brosius first, and then right into Cody Sorenson. But Jacob Brosius, I had asked him about the defensive line, and right from his mouth, it's about the agility. It's about the quickness, the lateral ability, the chemistry they have built up. And so that conversation, he really gives us a feel for where that defensive line is currently at.
It feels like last offseason I was covering you playing your senior year at Fargo North. Now you're a senior with the Dragons. What have that last 5-6 years been like for you, and how can you even try and put that into words?
Yeah, it's gone fast. One memory that keeps playing in my head is freshman year when my mom and dad removed me into the dorms, and we were walking around campus, and we're walking by Dahl Hall, and my mom goes, "Oh, this is your home for the next 9 months." And I think to myself, man, that's a long time. Now I'm going to my 5th year here. It just feels like in a blink of an eye goes by. But I can think back to some great memories, like whether it's my freshman year with the 6-year guys or even last year with like that year senior. So just a lot of great memories here, and it's just crazy that we're already in year 5 here. So
when you think back to what past senior classes have taught you, whether you look at the Denver Justice tandem of last season or guys even further back than that, what have you learned from them that you're going to be able to take with you to help lead in that defensive line room this season, being one of those couple 2-3 guys?
Yep. I think a big guy was especially Josiah Boehm last year, that senior. He was also one of my roommates. I think one thing Josiah did really well was he led a lot of guys, but he was also open up. And, with Dragon Love, that's the one thing we talk about in this program. And that's one thing he did really well. That's one thing I'm trying to strive for this season. I think I can be a very vocal guy. I think I can get on guys when they need to, but I think that Dragon Love, opening up to guys, being there for each guy is something that I've been trying to work on this offseason and something I'm definitely going to try to do this season.
The last few years, I know, especially in the front 7, you guys are really proud of yourselves on the athleticism you have, the way that you can get around offensive linemen creatively and make plays in the backfield. at least on paper this season, a little bit smaller than last year. I mean, you might play in the inside a little bit in the 230s, right? And you just have a few guys like that. How do you or how are you going to approach each Saturday, knowing that you're not going to be the biggest defensive line out there, or even front seven, but you're going to go out there and work your tails off?
Yeah, we're going to use our strengths. I think that's athleticism, like you mentioned. We got a lot of fast guys in the room. We're probably not traditional D linemen, as you can clearly see on paper, right? We're not going to go there and just go nose to nose with you and try to like out muscle you or anything like that. We're going to use our quickness. We're going to be able to move laterally. We're definitely going to try to make those old linemen be athletes, and that's definitely how we're going to try to approach every Saturday.
What have you worked on most to improve your game from last November to now what'll be Labor Day weekend, getting that first game of your senior year in?
One thing was just being honestly more bendy. I think that was one thing me and Courier talked about after the season was I had good pop. I was able to, basically hold my own down there, but it was just finishing, being able to bend, get around corners was one thing I really needed to work on. So flexibility was a big thing. Funny enough, like right after the season, me and Josiah, after he was done, we went to Use Yoga in downtown Fargo. A little free shout out if anyone's interested. $5 Wednesdays. So we'd go there every week, stretching every night, trying to work on that mobility, and it's something I've seen a really big improvement this summer. Even coaches talked about it as well, so that's something I'm really excited for, and that's one big step I've been trying to take.
Man, hey, I love the free plug there, man. That's good. Any way you can get a little bit more, just a little bit more flexible, yeah. In closing with you, do you have a memory or even a couple memories that you can point to at this point as you enter your senior year that said, you know what, this is why I signed that dotted line 5 years ago to become a Dragon, whether it's on the field or off the field?
Yeah, I think honestly, like last night was a great memory. We had a guy that came in. He actually played with Abe Rorick, and he was just telling his story, like how he didn't make the bus like after his freshman year, after his redshirt freshman year. He didn't make the bus the second year after that. And then he just talked about like he was just trying to find his role. Like he's like he understood that he wasn't going to be the guy out there on defense, right? But he ended up playing like scout team running back his senior year just to help the team any way he could. And just hearing a guy like that guy's 10 years removed from the program at that point, right? And just saying like how like Laqua and this whole program has just made men like that are just selfless in that sense and like love the guy next to you. And that was really big and powerful for me. And it was just in that moment, I just knew like this was the right place for me. I'm so happy I made this decision. So happy to be here for 5 years.
That's incredible. Well, Jacob, thank you for coming. It's your time. We always appreciate it. Good luck. And this season, we're looking forward to watching you guys out there come next Thursday at Northern Michigan.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're entering your senior year 2025 for you, man. What has this last offseason been like, and where's your excitement level doing this one final time?
Well, I think it's kind of cool just to have a senior class of guys that are 2 years younger than me and kind of see guys that I've came in with, how their years have gone and stuff. And I don't know, I feel like I've really connected with some of the younger guys and stuff, so it still feels special even though they weren't the guys that I originally came in with and stuff. So
this secondary is basically everybody's back from last year. I mean, it's got to be one of, if not the most experienced secondaries, not just in the conference, but the entire realm of Division II. How cool is it to have that group of guys that you've been together for 2, 3, 4 years, and then also to be able to go back out there for at least 11 guaranteed contests with them?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're really talented as a group. I think we have a great opportunity to show that we are a great defense, and I think it's just been fun to watch a lot of the younger guys like be able to exceed and stuff and find their roles on the team.
When you think about the last handful of years, I don't even know if you'll be able to do it or not, but is there a moment or a couple moments that have stuck out that is like, man, this is why I came to MSUM, this is why I want to wear that Dragon red each Saturday?
I think, honestly, the true Dragon moments are probably off the field, just whether it's in the off season, like us working together in the summer, just like bus rides and stuff. Like, I feel like ultimately that's what like the Dragon family is all about and stuff, is sticking together off the field too.
Where have you improved your game most from the ending of last season in November to where we're going to be at Northern Michigan in a week from Thursday?
I feel like vocally I've become more of a leader. I feel like last year I was kind of a leader of the group as well, but I think just kind of being the voice of the group it's kind of been where I've taken a step forward.
What have you learned most from past senior classes that are helping you be that leader on the field and off the field that you had mentioned?
I think guys like Jared Kallenbach was very level-headed, and he knew how to talk to a lot of different guys. Shad Veda, which is a big throwback. He knew how to connect with guys of all ages. When I came in, I was 18 and he's like 23 or 24, and there was no age gap there for me. So I think that has been some of the things I've taken from older guys just in my position group, but there's a lot of different lessons I've learned from a lot of guys.
Last thing I have for you, as we look towards this 2025 season, where do you think is the biggest strength of this defense as we kick off the season?
I think we're pretty athletic as far as like the back seven for sure, and even our D line. I would say we can do a lot of different things with a lot of different people, and we have a lot of different guys we can plug into different spots. So I think it'll be interesting to see. We might have some guys playing corner game 1 and maybe some nickel game 2. So we can put guys in a lot of different places. I think that'll be our strength.
Thank you to Jacob Brosius and Cody Sorenson for a few minutes of their time, media day, and just being open with what they talk about, the chemistry these guys have built up, the maturity that they exemplify as well out there. But real quick, just a couple thoughts, special teams wise, and then we'll go to Coach Laqua. Of course, you bring back Max Watson, the place kicker who won the Dragons a couple of games last season, the now true sophomore to Fargo North.
Stability in the kicking game. He was a true freshman last year. He comes in as a sophomore. Like any of these guys, and I keep telling you this, and you've witnessed it obviously firsthand when we go over and see some of these guys come back after a summer away. This is the time period in Max's life, along with a lot of these guys that are putting on muscle mass, are able to retain it. So I would almost be willing to think that maybe Max Watson's range could even improve from year 1 to year 2.
Very well could, yeah.
Number 2, maybe an underwritten kind of that whole battery up the middle. It looks like we're going to have Nolan Imhoff as your long snapper, and then, of course, your holder, who's been holding for probably – this should be at least his 3rd season as the main holder, Grant Workentine out of West Fargo Cheyenne. That is an underrated position because sometimes when those snaps are not good, you have to be able to obviously come down with it.
Or not perfect at the very least.
You got to be able to come up with it, get it down, give your kicker an opportunity to make a good kick.
Get those laces out.
Obviously, in the return game, Brady Perryman's going to be both returning kicks and punts, at least as far as this first game goes. He's a threat. Obviously, Cody Sorenson, we've seen him do it in the kicking game. We've seen him do it in returns, interception returns, etc. So got a good return game there. Just got to get the blocking up front. And then, obviously, lastly, Tristan Ulmer. I'm intrigued by him. You know more about him than I do, but true freshman out of Mandan, North Dakota, is going to come in and punt.
Saw him kicking and punting for the Mandan Braves the last couple of seasons.
So obviously he punted well enough because last season Max Watson was both your kicker, your place kicker, and your punter. And now this year the punting duties are going to go to Ulmer. And then, of course,
be able
obviously,
to let Max hone in a little bit more in his craft, right?
And
he's going to specialize.
Yeah, and he's going to specialize because you're going to have Sebastian Omorucho Seabass out there, who's a senior. He will be your kickoff specialist. And he's come up at times and been able to be a place kicker, so he's not getting away from that.
Exactly.
He's just not going to be the main place kicker. That's going to be Max. So I think we're solid in the special teams. We've got some solid kickers out there. I'm excited to see what Max, because quite honestly, as soon as I heard Max Watson was committing to the Dragons, I was really excited because that was a key area that the Dragons offensively needed to shore up, was the kicking game, because if we had a couple kicks go our way 2 years ago, maybe instead of a 7-win team, maybe we're talking 8, maybe 9-win team. So that's always a special teams are always an important part of the game. You know, you got to be sound in all three phases of the game.
Very much so. You also got to be sound in how you get your wording out, right?
Wording and talking at times is tough. Thankfully I'm not chewing gum and walking at the same time. That
can be an issue at times.
Yeah.
So you can get a drink of water, you can regroup for a minute. Let's go over that conversation with head coach Steve Laqua. I mean, it's college football is back. Coach Laqua is back for another year. And he's just excited to be out there and, of course, be leading that program again.
Absolutely. You go through last season. You go into the off season. What has the off season been like for you and the coaching staff, and obviously getting here to fall camp?
Well, I think always we're trying to build fundamentals. We're trying to lift the floor of our program, which really means creating as much quality depth as we can. And I think that's one of the things about fall camp. We felt really good about coming out of fall camp, that we've grown our depth, not just offensively and defensively, but also in special teams. And so I think that's a winning edge. And if you can have depth there, you can have players performing at a high level, it can change the game. And so that's been a good part of the offseason. We've changed some things, some way that we've practiced. I think that's engaged some of those young players and maybe helped speed up their development. And so that's been exciting. And hopefully now we can see it live in action, and hopefully it pays off.
Well, when it comes to developing the younger players for that depth, number one, you've got maybe some guys, at least in some key spots, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that'll be coming into this season expecting to play more. You're going to need them to play more. But then also when you talk about those guys and their development, what about this incoming class you have, this class of freshmen that, majority are going to be redshirted this year, and you're going to build that depth for the following years because you got a lot of seniors in some key places this year. So talk about how you get those guys some reps that'll be in a bigger role this year, and then obviously developing the future here at MSUM.
Yeah, you always have to have kind of a broad picture and view of things of like, hey, we've got to be ready to win now, but we also have to be planning for the big picture of the future and developing guys. And so we're a developmental program. We bring in guys. I think we've done a really good job of retaining them, keeping them here for their 4 to 5 years, developing into good players. And so that plan really kicks off. So if you're at a practice, you can watch two things going on at once where we are developing guys that are going to play this week and they're in live game action of looks that they're going to see. And on the other end of the field, we have another group of guys that are trying to get as many fundamental looks that are game-like as possible in smaller situations that maybe don't require as much contact, maybe don't require as much risk of injury, so to say. And so there's a broad-based perspective to be able to make that happen. And so really good freshman class that we do think can contribute. I think last year's guys, that was a redshirt class, was a good class. And so we need those two classes to step up because, as you said, 22 seniors on this class. They need the support from those guys, but those guys got to be ready in the future to take over.
Well, when you talk about having 22 seniors this year, it was just a couple years ago. You only had a couple seniors on this roster. Now you got a pretty big senior class by the standards, at least as far as I've been here. So when you have that kind of senior class and you've got some juniors, obviously, and some redshirts in there that have a lot of experience so far coming into this year, does that increase expectations, at least from the coaching staff? I know you want to continue to get 1% better every day. You want to continue to push to that next level, get to the playoffs, etc. But what kind of expectations does the coaching staff have for this program?
Well, expectations-wise, with a veteran crew, it allows us to be able to move forward quicker through fall camp, through spring ball, of like, okay, we've got this stuff down. We can try and advance there, but at the same time, we can put the expectations on the shoulders of those seniors to lead. Like, hey, we need help. We need 22 extra coaches on the field developing the young guys, pull them off to the side. Hey, what'd you see? How can you do better? Give them some coaching feedback. And so really be extensions of the coaching staff. And I think this group's done a great job of that. That's something we've worked really hard to develop within the culture. They've taken it. They've done a great job, and that's part of the reason why these young guys are coming around so quickly.
One thing we want to ask, obviously, before we get to the season game, I know we talked about it on Original Dragon Media Day, but obviously the big word is Jack Strand. He's one of the 10 Division II athletes that's on the watch list for the Shrine Bowl coming up this offseason. Obviously, you guys are all focused on the development of this team. Obviously, week one, you're worried about Northern Michigan. But what's it like having a player like Jack Strand, not only from the development he's gone through in his time as a Dragon, but obviously the eyes that are on him, and then also his leadership capabilities for that quarterback room, because somebody's going to have to step into his place next season.
Well, absolutely, and Jack's done a great job of helping the young quarterbacks, right? Understand the system, what are the challenges he's been through, how's he doing things, what's his routine, and so they can follow along. But he's helped the young wideouts, hey, this is where I'm kind of expecting you, this is what we're thinking on this play. And so he's helped not just on the football, but I think he's given a great example to all the guys on the team of, hey, you know what, football is important here, but there's a lot of things that are just as important or more important than the football that are valued in this program. And so let's not lose sight of those things. And so let's make sure that if you're a Dragon, you're bought into all of Dragon football, not just throwing the ball 60 times a game, but everything else. And so I think he's been a great example. He's had obviously a lot of NFL scout eyes on him, but he's handled the pressure. It hasn't changed him. He's been the same guy day in and out. And I think that example helps everybody else say, hey, as the pressure builds, or as there's big games, or as there's eyes on you when it's your turn to make a play, hey, here's the example of how to handle it. Just do it like you do every single day. It's just like practice. Go out there and be who you are.
Well, his one flaw, though, is allowing his brother to go to that other school within the conference. But that's a different story for a different time. As we get ready, obviously, for Northern Michigan, super excited about it. Traveling to a place I've never been before. I'm not sure about yourself. Going to the Superior Dome, the world's largest wooden dome. I've been watching some of their game from last season, kind of trying to get a feel for them. What can you tell us about Northern Michigan as you guys prepare to go take on the Wildcats?
Well, I think for people that have watched the NSIC, there's a team that's similar to Minot in the sense of offensively similar schemes, maybe a year behind where Minot was. Last year was their first year into this scheme of running the triple option. If you remember, Minot kind of was that 2 years ago, and then last year's where they hit their stride.
Right.
They got into their second year in that system and really took off. And you could tell this team from game 1 against Duluth to the very last game, they'd gotten a ton better. And so you could see them start, and you're like, okay, now you're a little concerned that they're going to take off like Minot did last year. And so we're certainly going to have to control the tempo of the game, very similar to what we've seen in a Minot type game, where we've got to control the tempo, the pace, the scoring, ideally. Defensively, we're going to have to be sound from top to bottom over and over and over, because they make you play gap sound. Defensively, their defense provides a lot of different challenges, from pressure to different looks, coverage-wise. But for us, it's trying to figure out, okay, well, what are we going to see? Because our offense is a little bit like their offense. It's different, but on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And so how are they going to play an offense like that? We don't really know. And so some of those things we're going to have to figure out in real time and be able to make quick, good adjustments to here's what they're giving us and here's what we got to make sure that we do. And so early out, the quicker we can feel it out and figure it out, the better it is for the Dragons.
Well, when you look at that conference over there, they are a run-heavy type of conference over there. I was literally trying to go through their games last year and find a game where they would be playing a team that's similar to the Dragons. So when you really look defensively, I just don't know how to compare this Dragon offense to this Northern Michigan defense, because I don't think they've really seen anything like this Dragon offense, because not only do you have a pass-heavy offense, but you've right now got a wide receiver room that's the healthiest it's been in probably about 18 months or so. So it seems like that should be an advantage to your team going into this one.
Well, hopefully, you've got senior leadership, you've got experience there. You want to lean on that, and you hope those areas can be an advantage. But at the end of the day, we got to go out there and produce. It's going to be a hostile environment. It's going to be loud in there. It's the first game. There's some jitters, and so we've got to get through that as fast as possible. If we can, I think we've got a chance. You can play it out both ways. If they start with the ball and long drive and score, and we go 3 and out, and they long drive and score, we're in the middle of second quarter and hardly touch the ball. Now you could play it on the flip side. If we come out and start fast and get a stop and then can score, you're like, well, now they're behind the 8 ball.
Right.
And that's in games that have different styles of play like this. That's where the start is very critical, and so it's going to be important.
And we've seen that in this Dragon program the last couple of years, where they've got a team that wants to hold onto the ball, pound it out, slow the tempo of the game down. You guys come out, maybe you score real quick. We looked at a game, James and I, last year. I think it might have been the Sioux Falls game, and I think they had at least double the plays of your team, and you guys were still able to win that game. But it's obviously being effective when you do have the ball.
Correct. So we're going to have to be efficient. Third downs to make sure we keep the chains moving, but we got to be great on first down, and that usually is what makes us click. If we can get the first down, first down, now we've got some momentum, and so got to start fast.
Would you say that is the main key to this game and trying to get a victory on the road?
I think it's critical to start both offensively and defensively. Can we get it figured out and play well? I think in early games, special teams are critical, and so we've got to be able to produce and change the field there and make sure that they're not getting us. Last year, we got a special teams that got us in a big kickoff return, and we can't have that. We've got to be sound in the kicking game.
Thank you to head coach Steve Laqua for a few minutes of his time before the Dragons actually ended up leaving. The conversation got recorded hours ago.
Yeah.
Just because coach is a little bit busy during media day. He had other things to do, prepare, film, make sure that the guys were ready to go as they began their travels to Northern Michigan, Marquette, Michigan for this game that we have this week. So one final time, one thing to note, you got to thank all the guys, right?
Right.
Thank you for all the time and the resource and just the graciousness that they have with it. Gage Florence, Cody Sorenson, Jacob Brosius, head coach Steve Laqua as well. Cannot wait to watch those gentlemen out on the field for at least 11 guaranteed more cracks this season.
Let's also just give a quick shout-out, obviously, Athletic Director Chad Markison, the head of the Go team, Jod Webking. Webby is always great with us getting video, whatever we need. And then, of course, Nolan Schmidt, our basically sports information director. He always hooks us up with the information, the ability to talk to these guys and make it so that basically when they're doing media day and they're getting their headshots taken, we can just have them run by us and have a little quick conversation with them. So always a pleasure working with those guys.
Yeah, and in closing with this one, of course, this video, the preseason interviews, the broadcast, the social media stuff, none of that's possible without the parents, without the supporters, without the fans, without the listeners, whatever you want to deem yourself that you do to help progress that program with MSUM, to help progress the play-by-play coverage that we give, the video highlights that happen, the different things that go on our daily shows. It's not possible without the listeners, the supporters, the parents, the university, the honestly, even the commits that are coming up, and all the other supporters too.
Yeah, all of them are really driving our coverage. I mean, I get excited when we see new commits, both football and basketball, coming to the Dragon family next year, and you see that they've committed on social media, and you go ahead and you follow them, you congratulate them, whatever, and boom, they're following you. They're ready to become a Dragon. So this is a special place, and you know personally from going to school there. There's a special community, and I'm just so thankful that we're able to continue to cover the Dragons because it has been a lot of fun in just these first 2 seasons, and I'm excited for season number 3.
And as we sign off, remember, Thursday, August 28th, 4:45 Central Time pregame, 5 p.m. kickoff on the Flag, AM 1100, FM 92.3. We cannot wait to bring you guys another season of Dragon athletics, high school athletics, and of course, just keep building the brand and what we have an opportunity to do. So thank you for watching this. Thank you for supporting us, and we'll be seeing you guys again real soon, I'm sure. God bless.
Yep, you betcha. Bye.